I saw your Bond thing. That was cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was not amazing, but it was pretty fun to do.
Yeah, making ANSI art was cool. I was like trying to, I don't know, I was like trying to find new things to do. So I'm just like, oh, like maybe I can like convert because it was like image converters to ANSI.
Uh,
But the images I picked epically failed, so
yeah,
kind
that
of
was the same. Like I tried to do like a Casper the Ghost animation at first, and I was like,
yeah.
I'm not good enough to do this. Like, so I had to
Yeah.
switch it to a more simple, like just the James Bond. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I realize I need to dial down my expectations for ANSI or at least like the image converters because I'm not good enough. Like I don't have the experience to make something really cool,
Yeah.
but also apparently those generators aren't as good as I overestimated how good those generators are.
Yeah. Those that website, yeah, the ONSI like illustrations archive, those people are pretty
Mhm.
creative. Like you wouldn't think you can get, all that stuff like from, a few simple characters. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah, maybe I'll just like make a really fancy one and just kind of move it side to side.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, how's everyone doing? Um, but yeah, at some point I want to make something cooler or like a more advanced
Yeah. I heard like
something.
C++, plus plus. It's like one of the big uses was like in, I guess, like gaming or like graphics
Mhm.
because of its speed. So that is kind of
Oh,
there's
really?
people like using it for that too.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was like, yeah, when I was looking up the first time for the Totoro thing, like on CR, a bunch of like I mean it wasn't in C++ necessarily, but like a bunch of like gaming gifs popped up of like just straight like frames. And I was like, what is this is so cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see like what people used, but yeah, and I saw some blogs that were just like, oh yeah, the combination of C++ and OpenGL and like whatever. It's like I made a whole game with that.
Dang.
Yeah, I know. It's like at some point, maybe.
Yeah, the dream.
hmm Talking
Awesome.
about our ANSI art
Yeah,
goals.
yeah, yeah. I really liked Ryan's James Bond animation too. That's really cool.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. It was not like it was still kind of buggy. It was not very very good. And also I used like all the code you guys had written and all the art already made. I just changed like one thing, so it wasn't too much of my own
Hey,
design.
that is really cool. Well, I mean, you obviously had to look at the code and understand that it's working and all. That is absolutely fantastic because the reason I'm saying that is because successful programs generally you can do a lot of things without having to know the program. Yeah, so you don't have to because we can just work with the art once we are confident the program does what it does. We can just work with the art and forget about the program, which is really cool. So. In fact, I realized there was a bug in the code after I posted the link to that dancing guy on the beach. That was also a picture from the art archive. If you notice, if you click on I think humans, or they have a category called humans or men or something like that. And there I found this little boy. And they okay, cool. What can I do with it? Yeah, I can't do something like, Erica with the splattering rain and all, but at least raising his hand and bending his knees were feasible. So that's kind of cool. But I realized there was a bug in the code, which I got to the bottom of, but I thought, well, it'll be nicer if we fix it in class. It's just a
Yeah.
one-line fix. It's very simple. And in fact, how about this? Today, I'll tell you what the bug is, and you guys can take that code, either Ryan's code or Mike. I think Ryan, you didn't change the C++, right? You only changed the art file.
Yeah, I didn't change. I think I only changed like the speed of like the 200 ms to like 400. That was the only thing.
400, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you also commented out the C outlines in the read file.
That's right. That was before I realized I could move the row and column to move the image
Yeah,
below
yeah, yeah,
the thing. I was like, oh, I have to comment these out. It's getting in the way of my my graphic.
yeah, yeah, it happened to me too. So, but I wanted to see the debug messages, so I put my images like 7 lines below.
Mhm.
But yours is cleaner, right? No debug information. It's nice, and you just see the animation alone. However, what I did, luckily, uh, uh, um, made it possible for me to see that there was a bug in the code. And the bug
Mhm.
is that if I create 5 frames or n frames or how many ever frames, it only reads n-1 frames. The last frame is not actually read in, because well, you'll find out, right? If you click on the link that I shared and then run it, you'll see that in the what did I call the dance thing? Totoro. No, not Totoro. Something else .txt, right? In the frames, I have 4 frames maybe, and it only read 3. It didn't read the last frame. So if you run it, you'll see the debug messages. That's why Ryan could not have found it, because he commented it out, right? You have like 7 or 8 frames, right? In your James Bond flick.
I think I had actually, yeah, 7 or 8, but the last one wasn't reading also. So it was like when the frame would run, it would leave the last image I didn't want there. So I kind of saw
That's
the
what it is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bug. That's what you actually found the bug. You found the bug. um and so it is that it does not read the last one, but it's very simple. It's very simple, and that is, I'd like for you guys to fix that bug, because it is a classic case of a corner case, right? Corner
Mhm.
case bugs are not always to do with loops and the end conditions and I less than j and things like that. No, no. So corner cases can happen anywhere that you have to do a task, and then there's a, you either miss the first step or the last step, right? That is really the corner case, because the first and the last are the corners of the range. And so the bug in this code is that I failed to read the last frame, okay? Or I read the last frame, but I'm not stuffing it into the vector or whatever it is. Now, I don't know what's going on, but you guys can collectively figure it out, okay? So Ryan is going to basically code today, yeah?
Mhm.
And however, this is what I'm thinking. All right. So next week, next week we'll try and look at search techniques. Okay, searching is very simple. Just do binary. We won't do binary search. Okay, let's not do binary search, because you're going to have to do binary search in quest number 7. You'll be implementing your own, right? So we won't do binary search in class. Yeah, or linear search either. So all right. If you guys want, we'll do search techniques next class. Intro to search techniques, and maybe we'll try and do binary search. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So how about this? Okay. So in the quest, I think you have to do binary search iteratively, not recursively. Or I'll find out. Okay, I'll find out how we're doing it in the quest. But in class, we can do it the other way, right? Because binary search can be done in 2 ways. You can do it either recursively or iteratively. I think in the quest you do it iteratively,
I think it's
or at
iterative
least
for the
I.
quest.
Hmm?
I
Hmm?
think the quest is iterative.
Iterative. Great. Okay, so we can do a recursive version of binary search next class. Okay, next class. So there won't be any games and all, but so far, we'll come back with whatever. We'll just stacks. Right, stacks. I don't know if we can come up with a game to play with stacks. If you guys have any ideas, we can. The week after that, I'm thinking we'll play with stacks, a stack data structure. And in fact, as a stack data structure is going to be the first real abstract data type that you guys will develop. Okay, it's real. If you in C++ and in the next quarter and all, you're going to be using the standard stack in the library. You're going to say, give me a stack, I'm going to use it, right? So you'll use it. And you'll be using a list, you'll be using a tree. However, I think the standard library does not contain, the standard template library doesn't contain a class for graphs, okay? And you won't be implementing graphs, I think, in, 2C, you'll be implementing graphs, okay? So, but, the STL does not give you a graph class, but, it gives you a tree, it gives you different kinds of trees, it gives you lists, stacks, so many sets, hash maps, many data structures, abstract data types are given to you for free. In 2C, you will actually implement all of these yourself. Even though all of these are available for free, you're going to be implementing them yourself. And the idea there is that before you buy something off the, or use something that's given to you by someone else, it's always useful. Or the expert programmers anyway, right? They always know what they're importing into their code, right? If they download a library from the internet and they use it, they know what it's going to do and how it's doing it before they use it. They won't just use it willy-nilly and blindly. And that is the reason why, the code is more robust, basically, written by good programmers, because they know before they use something that, well, it is bulletproof, it is clean, it's done well, this is exactly what I want to do, so I'll use it. And so in 2C, you'll actually implement all of these data structures, right? Including the graph data structure, which is not part of the library, but you'll implement a graph data structure and implement lots and lots of really cool algorithms on graphs. So you'll do that in 2C, not here. In 2B, you'll implement data types. Okay, I think you'll implement a list. Well, you're going to be implementing a list in 2A, right? The very last quest of 2A. It's a really hard quest compared to the rest of them. So and make sure you have sufficient time, at least 2 weeks, to work on the last quest. So you'll implement 2 big data structures in 2A, right? One is a stack, which is going to be like super duper easy, right? Anyone, you grab a programmer off the street and say, well, implement a stack, and they can do it in 5-10 minutes. That's all it'll take. 10 minutes. 10 minutes sitting in front of a computer, you can do it. Whether it's Java, Python, C++, doesn't matter. And in fact, you can implement a stack in less than 100 lines of code. Less code than we've been writing for our games. And you can implement a stack like that. So you'll be doing, we can do a stack in the week after next week. This is week, next week is week, this is week 8. So next week is week 9. Week 10, we'll do stacks. Week 11. Okay, so week 10, we'll do pointers, and implement stacks using pointers. Okay, stacks using dynamic memory on the heap. And we'll, week 10, I'll talk about dynamic memory, heap memory, and stack memory, and what's the difference, and when you should go for one versus the other. All of those things are really, really important, regardless of whether you're a C programmer or Java programmer, a Python. C is very, very clear and just clear cut, so we know exactly what we're getting. So we'll go over that in week 10 and use our knowledge of allocating memory on the heap to create a stack data structure, which is different from what you'll be doing in Quest 8. In Quest 8, you got to implement a stack anyway. So we'll do that. And then in week 9, we'll do link. Now we won't do linked list. We'll do linked structures, because linked list you're going to implement in Quest 9. So we'll do linked structures and play around with linked structures in class. In fact, I remember last quarter we actually did a game using a linked structure. Maybe we'll try and revive that. Yeah, I remember. It was a Wheel of Fortune. I think it was Wheel of Fortune. We implemented a Wheel of Fortune where the wheel was actually a ring of linked nodes. So you have node 1 pointing to node 2 and so on, and the last node points back to node 1. Well, maybe we can do that again. Maybe do a slightly better version this quarter. Again, using our display with effect and all, or the animations you've done. So maybe that can be done in week 11 next. But week 10 we'll do stacks using pointers and heaps. And next week we can do search techniques. Yeah, we'll do search. Recursion and search techniques. Okay, I think recursion is important to know, because in my experience, okay, all of the 2A students I've taught so far, by the time students are in 2B and 2C, they know the place of recursion. They know when to use it, when not to use it. Most of the time, after quest number 2 and 2B, right? Green quest 2, you'll know. But until then, I think recursion seems to have some kind of a romantic overtone to it for beginning programmers, because recursion looks nice. Okay, recursion looks nice for a programmer. It's really, really cool. And they say, I want to use recursion. They're all itching to use recursion. And so but thing is, and that is a danger for self-taught programmers or homegrown programmers, is they won't know the details of when to use recursion, when not to use, and they'll end up with shooting themselves in the foot. Program takes a whole lot of time, chews up enormous amounts of memory, not professional quality code at all. But if you know how to use the recursion, and what happens in the background, you already know already. I mean, when you call a function, what happens is a return address is pushed on the stack. We talked about that before, right? So we'll talk about that again in the context of recursion and what happens. So I think it's important to get a firm grounding in recursion. And it is kind of related to this mathematical concept. I don't know if you guys have enrolled in math, but I think this is actually taught in high school, right? I think my kids learned about it in high school. It's called mathematical induction. Hands up if you've heard this term, mathematical induction. No? Right. So yeah. Right. So a few people know. Right. If you haven't, just Google for it. And there's lots and lots of simple proofs. We're not going to be covering math induction in class, okay? When next week, when we do recursion and all, we won't be covering math induction. But if you have learned about math induction in class, outside, especially, try and prove the sum of the first n natural numbers, n times n plus 1 over 2. Yeah, it's a very simple formula that, due to Gauss. So try and prove that using mathematical induction. You don't have to succeed, but it'll be good exercise. And the reason I say that is because a lot of things that you leverage in making sure that your math induction proof works, okay? Because math, every proof has to work. Left hand side equals right hand side or something like that, right? So a lot of the things that you use in trying to make sure that your induction proof works is directly related, okay, to how you will implement a recursive routine in C++ or any language. Because if your recursive routine doesn't work, chances are some math proof that you might have done very similar to that wouldn't also work. Okay, the proof will be wrong. So you'll find out the close connection between these two when we talk about recursion next class. So my plan, I think, for now is that next class we'll do recursion and search techniques. Yeah, recursion and search techniques. And if I forget, please remind me next class. Hana, I think, is going to be coding next class. So we can right. So this class, what we'll do is I know we introduced a whole bunch of concepts in the code that we wrote last class, right? We introduced file input, output, file input, reading from a file. Writing to a file is exactly the same. Now you know how to get a IF stream, that's input file stream. You can create an OF stream, output file stream, in exactly the same way. And after that, you can use your output file stream as though you're using cout. You just say cout right shift or left shift. You can do OFS left shift. So exactly the same. So we won't spend much time on the file input, but certainly it's worth going over the code today and understanding how that works. And then the loop for reading the lines in from a file. Okay, now two things. Now when Ryan pulls up the code, what you guys can do is look at that bug that we talked about. Why is it not reading last frame? Okay, and it's just 1 or 2 lines. Okay, if your change involves more than 1 or 2 lines, then it's probably not the right change. I think, right? Maybe I'll come back and say, well, I tried to do it. Actually, it does take more than 1 or 2 lines, but I think not. Okay, so it's only a 1 or 2 line change. You got to fix that bug, and in the process of fixing the bug, you'll thoroughly understand how that read frames from a file works, because there's a bunch of things that happen there. In fact, in that thing, you're passing a vector by reference, stuffing into the vector, and so this code that we wrote leverages lots of things that we talked about before. Static methods. Yeah, and you can talk about what a static method is. And if you don't understand, we have the whole of this class to talk about it, and maybe also implement a few more static methods. So maybe we can say, Erica wanted to change color of, put the string here in red, right? Or draw this in yellow or something like that. We can try and implement that. It's very simple. All you need to do is just send the right escape sequences and do the same thing. Yeah. So we can write some simple static methods. In fact, exercise for you guys. Okay. So in fact, what you can do is after you've debugged, debug the code and also understood the code, take as much time as you want going over every single part of the code. And if you don't understand anything, you can ask me. Better yet, you can ask each other, and if not, you can call me. Okay, I'm going to be here. Okay, I'm going to be here, except I'll turn off my camera or something so that you guys can have a full-fledged discussion on the code. Ryan will scroll up and down, and Namrata might say, hey, can you scroll up to line 15? I had something that I thought I didn't understand. Okay, so you guys scroll through the code and then try and understand the code. After that, implement one more static method, and that will set the color. Maybe write string at write color string at. Okay, write color string at. You can write a method called write color string at, and so you're going to give it the coordinates row, comma, column, and then the string to write, or write color character at. Write color character. So row, comma, column, comma, character to put in that column, and also a 1 byte color. Okay, you'll find all the color codes in that ANSI document that we Googled on GitHub, right? So you'll find this is color codes. So you'll say, so this now takes 4 parameters: set a character in a given color. And so once you have that, your animations can get even more sophisticated, because you have color and everything happening on screen. So so that I think should occupy most of this class, most of today's class. If we run out of things to say, I'm sure we'll have ideas that we can develop as the class progresses. But I think that is what we'll do. Yeah, and so yeah, unfortunately, Ryan could only make it to class to code today, and today is the class. Then we don't have a whole bunch to code, but maybe we'll have a whole bunch to code. Who knows, right? We're going to look at the code. We're going to look at that code. We're going to understand everything, right? And you can point to anything. It's one word. Hey, I don't. What is that word static? Why is it ampersand there? Okay, all of those questions are fair game. We need to understand this 100%. Okay, make sure you're totally comfortable with this code, because this will basically be the basis of lots and lots of stuff you're going to do later on, even in 2B and 2C. Yeah, so we'll do that. So that is my plan today. Unless you guys have anything else to talk about or ask, let's go with that. So when Ryan, when you're ready, share the online GDB code. And actually pick up my link, not the James Bond link, because in your code you have the thing commented out, or you can pick up your code and uncomment those things too. That's fine. Okay, we just want to make sure that it reads all of the frames. So you have 8 frames. Actually, mine will be easier because I only have like 4 frames. No, you even yours, because you're going to print the diagnostic message saying, oh, read 5 frames, 6, 7, 8 frames. Okay, so we can do that. And so let's do that. Okay, so when he's got the screen up, what I can do is, if you don't have any questions for me, I'll just turn off my laptop, and then you guys can just pour over that code as long as it takes. Every one of you should be utterly comfortable, meaning that if Karthik says, on line 47, there was one character that I didn't understand, right? There's a comma, or or an ampersand. He can say, hey, Ryan, can you scroll up a bit? I didn't understand that. Can one of you explain, or can we call the prof, right? And I will be happy to explain, right? The only reason I don't want to jump in and answer your questions is because I'm aware that, if you ask a simple question, I might take like 5 or 10 minutes of your time. And probably a lot of that is fluff, and it's not directly related to the answer. So it would be better if you guys talk about it. And if you're totally stuck and don't have an answer, I'm here. Okay, you can say, hey, Prof, we've been trying to find out why this happens, and can you help us? Or, or maybe a bug. You have a bug and I can't figure it out. Yeah, sure. I'm happy to debug it with you, right? Although I can't promise that I have more success than you guys, but I'm happy, an extra pair of eyes might usually help. So I'm happy to come back and work with you on the code that you write. Okay, but first fix that bug. Okay, the bug is you got to follow the logic, and it's only that much, right? That function is only that much in size, so you can actually have that function on screen, work through the function in your head, and say, hey, that okay, why is it not reading the last frame? Okay, and make sure that it reads the last frame, and then when you run it in my animation, you should see all of the frames. So 4 frames. If you run it now, it only sees 3 frames. It should see 4 frames, and then the animation should be complete. Okay, so do that. And then if you want to create more movies, you only have up to the end of this week. Okay, so because next week we'll be starting to look at recursion, which is kind of exciting. Okay, it is an exciting topic. And we'll talk about that next week. Okay, so you have the rest of this week to create more movies, right? Maybe it's actually, if you think about it, these things that you're creating are really like Hollywood storyboards. And if you look at the storyboard for movies they produce in Hollywood, they don't get the actors and say, well, this is a scene, do it. No, they actually have a storyboard of an artist who's actually gone through the movie and said, well, this scene has 15 shots. Okay, 15 shots, and they'll draw pictures. Okay, in this picture, John is here, Jill is here. Okay, and there's a table, and there's an apple on the table. Okay, and Jill moves towards the table, right? And they actually draw it out. They draw out the different frames, and then this is given to the actors, and the actors will look at the storyboard and say, well, you know what? Well, this character is standing here, that character, all right, let's position ourselves, and this is what we got to do. They'll actually do it by the storyboard, not by, the written book, because the written book could be different. The director says, right, because that's how they make different movies from the same book. Each director has a different vision. The vision of the director is translated into storyboard by an artist that is paid to draw these pictures, and then the storyboard is given to the actor who will look at the storyboard and perform their scene, right? And so your thing, you're actually producing these storyboards. You can actually create these frames and say, hey, I got a scene, I got a movie which has one scene, right? One act, one scene, and that scene has 15 shots. Okay, and that is really cool. So it's evolving in that direction. That's really cool. And at some point, if you guys are interested, time after this course ends, or or even during the course, if you're done with everything, I can show you how to turn this entire thing into a web page, right? And show you how you can set up a domain name, right? So let's say namrata.com or something like that, and you go there and you can create your own movies and also get them to play online on the web without having to have a C++ compiler. We'll actually do it all in JavaScript. Once you have it working in one language, you can do it in any language, right? They're all the same, right? They're all the same. And so just like C++ is able to talk to the hardware, JavaScript is able to talk to your browser. That's all. So the browser effectively is the hardware that JavaScript uses. So when C++ says to the hardware, console, put a pixel there, JavaScript is going to say to Chrome or Safari, hey, Chrome or Safari, put a pixel there. That's all. So that's the only call you may need to change. So once you have the logic working, you take the exact same logic and put it in JavaScript. And to make things even better for you, the syntax for JavaScript is very similar to the syntax for Java, Java and C++. C++ really, I think, is one of the archetypical original languages. Every language that came afterwards has been borrowing from C++. Even Python. Look at Python, C++. Many of these languages, many of the superficial constructs are very similar to C++. So because they're successful, they evolved over a long time, right? Decades of programming when other languages weren't there. C++ was polished and has all the essential things that are needed, and also all the frills that are not needed taken away. That is also what makes C++ strong. So when you learn C++ and go to other languages, you'll find these other languages easier because you already know. First of all, you know the logic, you know how to lay out the code, and then the syntax is also very, very similar. And in many languages. So that's why, so once you're comfortable with this, I can show you, if you have time later on, I'll show you how to turn this into a web app. So you can have your own .com, come and make your own movie, right? And because even in the ASCII art site, they're all static pictures. And so what you can do is create a similar ASCII moving art.com, right? and you can have an entire library, and you can have user contributions. Say, Erica says, I've made a Totoro movie, and you can just put it in the library. And then you can have a category and a catalog of lots and lots of movies, just like that site. And say, hey, a movie about Totoro, a movie about this, or 100 movies about James Bond. And all made with ASCII art and moving, right? So that's really cool. And I think people will like that because they can go and use these as fillers in their own documents and say, hey, I'm doing something, and here's a little moving flower. As you're reading this document, you have a moving flower, and then read the rest of the document. That's really cool, isn't it? So those are things that people will actually be able to use. And so, all right. So that's all I had to say. See, I took too much time already, right? So I want to hand over to Ryan at this point. Take the screen at any time you're ready, and share the code. And then there is a bug. Yeah, there's a bug. So yeah, where is that bug? So in read frames from file, the function called read frames from file. I think that's where, in fact, you can run this once, and let's see where the bug is. Where is my, go to the online GDB thing first. This is VS Code, right? So in online GDB, I have that file also. So, and then you can come back to VS Code and fix the code here if you like. But in online GDB, I'll show you what the bug is, right? If you go to online GDB, okay. Yeah, all right. So click on not Totoro.txt. No, this is Erica's code. Is mine. I think it was called Dancing Man or something.
Bubba Dance.
No, the previous one. Go to the previous page. Previous page.
Yeah, Bubba Dance.
My computer.
What is it?
Slow on that.
Further up.
Yeah, the Bubba Dance one.
Oh, that one. This.
Oh, no, Sabrina's.
The one above that. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that online GDB link is the one we want. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's called bubbadance.txt. All right. So if you click on bubbadance.txt, and you'll see that there are four frames. Okay, I made 4 frames. Right. So that's number 1, 2. Okay, 3, and then I made 4. Right, 4 frames. Now, but if you run it, you'll see that it only loads 3 frames. Okay, and increase the size of the console now as it compiles, and you'll see that the diagnostic messages say that it only reads 3 frames. Oh no, you can't resize while it's running. You got to run again. You got to. You can increase the size and then run it. Yeah.
How do I stop?
Oh, I see. Just reload the page. just Command R. Why is it not printing the debug? Why is it not printing those messages up there? Wow, this is really different from how it looked on my screen. Why? Wait. What's going on here? Oh, dismiss the left panel, the blue panel. Maybe that's screwing up with the indentation. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And now run it again. You have to. Yeah, I'm sorry. Dismiss the blue panel and run it. There you go. All right. So it was actually wrapping around and that was screwing up the animation. Right. So you see it only read 3 frames. It says read 3 frames, but there were 4 frames. So you got to figure out, you got to get to the bottom of why it's only reading 3 frames. It's a simple fix, but it may involve, diving a little deeper into the code than we have before. So are you guys comfortable with that? So if can you do that? I'm going to be here. I'm just going to turn off the camera and I'll be here. Well, actually, I'll just turn the laptop around. Okay. So I'll and you can call me and we'll fix it. If you can't fix it, how about 10 or 15 minutes? You should be able to fix it easily in 10, I think, 10 or 15 minutes. However, after having fixed it, you guys can look over the code and make sure that as you scroll from the bottom to top to bottom, or you start from main, right? Start from main, and then each function it calls, make sure you go and look at the function and understand what the function does, and then come back. Everybody should understand what's going on. And if you don't, you can ask each other questions or call me. Okay, how about that? Is that a good enough plan for today? Yeah. All right, great. Okay, so this way you guys will get to do a lot of stuff, more than me interrupting all the time. All right, so of course you can call me. Okay, you can call me anytime you're stuck. But I can see all of you guys here. All of you are in class, I think, are pretty much solid on what needs to be done. So I'm confident that you guys will have a rich discussion. All right. Okay, great. So just call me if you need me. Otherwise, I'm just going to be around. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Do you guys look at it in VS usually, like here, VS Code, or do you do it in the online GDP?
We've been doing it on online GDB, but I think we can also do it in VS Code as long as it works. I don't
Yeah.
think it really matters.
Okay.
Does it work okay?
Yeah, it works. It works fine in here. It's the exact same. I just copied it over. Let me do this. I have Bubba Dance in here. Just do this, and then I'll make a new text file. And I'll just put them in there. And I'll get rid of these. Get rid of that. And then I'll just change. I was playing with the tutorial one earlier, that's why. That was really cool.
It looks cool. Looks like you had a lot of fun with all your files.
No, definitely. Let's see if we can make them dance. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see that?
Looks good.
Sweet. Okay, and we can use this one, I guess, to make them stop dancing. To do the debugging.
So he said it was in the read frames function, I think.
Okay, in here. Okay. And I can zoom in too. Can you guys see this? I can make this bigger.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Let's see.
Wait, so this has 4 frames, right?
Yeah, this one
yeah.
has
And
all,
then when it's printing out, it's saying it's only reading 3.
yeah,
Yes.
the last one with his hand up like this isn't showing up.
Because like when it's printing out, it's directly using like the size, right? Like frames dot size. So does that like start? Does that not go all the way? Maybe, or does it? Maybe it starts at 0 or something. And then so you have to like add one when we're going through.
Oh, I see.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Cause
That's
like, yeah, cause it's like directly just the frames dot size is giving 3. Like it's not like another variable, right? So maybe in our frames, like when we do the if, we have to add one, maybe.
Right here, you're saying?
Maybe, yeah.
I'm gonna give it a shot. No, it looks like it's still doing the same.
Oh, okay.
That's a good idea. Uh, my computer's so slow. I'm so sorry.
it's also doing the like maybe like we would also change the return frames dot size plus what? No.
Down here.
Yeah, like maybe both that.
That's just the see out statement though. Oh, down here, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then back up here too, also
Yeah.
+1.
Maybe, yeah. Possible.
It's a good idea. Ooh,
All right, never mind.
it's a good idea. Okay, pause. Maybe let me see. Should we go maybe line by line through just this method and see if we can kind of like follow its story, then see if any part of that isn't getting to the end?
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So, and I definitely am not an expert, so I can kind of start, but then you guys cut me off when you realize what I'm saying is incorrect.
We're all in this together.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, so if stream ifs file name, so reading in the file name first line, like that makes sense. The parameters this takes is the name as a string of the file, and then a vector of frames. So is this vector frame and the and sign frames, is that a vector of classes that we've called frame? Because frame is our class up here. So is each like element of that vector a class?
I don't think it's a class. I think it would be a frame object,
A frame object.
like
Okay,
a
okay.
array of objects that are frames.
Yeah, the and frames, right?
Okay. So these all have access to the like methods of the class and everything.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, then this line reads it in, and then constant size t min length 20. Okay, that's fine. And then frame object frame, a string called line, and then while get line ifs line. Okay, let's go into this one. What do you guys think this first 152 is saying? Is that just while there's data on the on the line of the first frame, like we're going to like this frame, maybe frame 1, while like line 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it is, has It just takes the string on that line, like the data is a string.
Yeah, I think if it's like there is a string there, then like continue.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's making each frame and like it's just as long as there's things in it because we have the lines in between each frame, like empty lines.
Okay, perfect. And then, okay, if line dot length is less than min length, it's less than 20. Line dot length is less than 20. Then it goes into the next if block.
Mhm.
Frame dot data size is greater than 0. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Frame dot data size. So is that just the number of rows in the frame? Let's see, this means the frame is not empty. Has one
Yeah, I was playing. I just had it on mine, and I think instead of like doing the plus one, I made the greater than and equal to, and I think it's
Already.
reading everything, but then when it's printing out, it's doing some like weird thing, like it's like moving down. I'm not sure if that's like a separate thing or if it's caused by this.
Okay, let's give it a shot on here. So just line 54.
Yeah.
Equal. All right. Run C++ file. All right, let's give it a shot. No, it's not showing up on mine. Is mine just running the same? Is it catching our fixes?
Did you run it in online, a GDB, or a VS Code, Namrata?
Dude, I just forked it from the online GDB.
Do you want to share your screen temporarily and so we can see maybe?
Sure. 1 second.
Stop sharing.
I feel like I've definitely run into that where like I have compiler issues and then I have to go back to online GDB for this imaging stuff.
So I think, yeah, that's it. So regularly it's just right now it's just showing 3, but then if you do, I think like I think it's showing like we're reading like 0, 26, 26, 26, but then like this is just like continue, it's like moving down, I think.
That's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool. I don't think it's doing the fourth one though, because the fourth one's his hands like at a 90-degree ups.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Yeah.
it's still not doing it. Okay, but it's printing out. Oh, maybe is it because I don't know. I mean, it's going like in here 4 times, I think, then, right? Because it was printing out 4 of these.
Yeah, it does say it's reading 4 frames.
And maybe it's just like
But the first
this.
one is 0 rows and the next 2 are 26. I think they all should be 26, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. That's probably, yeah,
That makes
probably
sense.
why.
That's pretty cool though. I'd love to know like why it's going down. I can go back and see. What happened to my code? There it is. Primitive size is greater than 0.
You can try with
Oh,
the vector.empty.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so change it from to frame.data.empty.
Frame.data.empty here.
Yeah, empty instead of size. And then get rid of the greater than 0.
Oh, like the quarter case of if it's empty.
Yeah, like try.
All right.
Is it now just reading the empty one though?
Yeah, it's not showing.
Oh yeah, I could add the exclamation mark, so not empty.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Not empty. Sorry.
No, you're fine. We didn't catch it either.
Frame. Just right here.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yep.
Alright. Still looks like he's doing his usual moves.
Yeah, we're missing that like 90 degrees up one, right?
You see the actual text file? I think the last frame, maybe the text file has more spaces in it.
In here. Like last frame.
Yeah, can you see the line of frame 4, whether it has spaces or something? So after frame 4.
Oh, beneath.
Line up here, up there. So 82.
82.
Yeah. You see where a cursor places? It's just it.
It looks like the plus signs are lined up though, right?
Yeah. It looked good. I'm gonna go back 1 second and look at is it like clearing the last one right here on accident? Is that what's happening? Like before we get the it done or wherever the fresh one comes in, is this clearing the last frame? This would probably clear all of them, right? Or does it just clear? I don't know.
I feel like that loop is making each frame individually, so it clears before it makes the next frame.
Okay.
Yes, try swapping the if else statement. Swap the order of the if else.
Of these ones? But make sure I put this
So
being greater than 0.
no, I mean the order. So it would do push back in the frame first, and then let's see. Okay, so copy line 60 to above 54. Yeah, and then get rid of the else from the bottom.
Oh no. I messed up the I need another bracket.
And
Why
for
am I-
the frame.data.empty, we probably want to change that, right? Because as it is, it's the empty ones. If the empty ones are greater than 0, is that
Yeah,
what that
no,
is?
change the not to empty. So use the old way.
I'll go back to not empty. Right, another like bracket down here. Is that what's going on? Is that right?
I think so.
If maybe this should be like this.
Oh wait, your bracket is
But
oh
yeah, go to
that's
the
fine.
top. Is there like another like yellow bracket to match that bottom one? Right?
Yeah, up
Yeah,
here.
okay, cool.
And it returns outside the while. Return should be inside the while. Now I'm confused.
Return outside a while.
Returns outside of while. Okay, cool.
I can try it.
Whoa.
E, E. I feel like the flag took over.
The what?
The see out that flag, the reading frames flag kind of
Yeah, yeah.
dominated.
No, seriously.
Okay, because that
But the CL, does it actually print anything, or the CL should be last? Should be CL should be outside of the while.
I think it was just like it was to print. I actually don't know. Yeah, it was printing the number of frames.
Does this look better? See out outside of while.
It's I fixed mine with using a searching the string instead of using a like however lines are greater than something.
Oh, you managed to make it read the four frames?
Yeah,
You want to share your screen and we can look at that?
it's different. I wrote it on mine, but
You wrote it on just your VS?
yeah, like stuff.
Oh. Did
I can
you
share it.
Did you
change?
remodify the whole thing, Ying?
Sure, I can change it all, but
No, I asked if you like added your own flair to it.
oh no, it's similar, but the order is different, I guess. I can share it as well.
Yeah, let me stop sharing.
So this part, see, well, it's getting the line, and if you cannot find a string of f, because you titled those stuff as frame something. So if it doesn't, if it has a line, and the line is not f, it will push back the line into the frame. And then if this guy is not empty, then it will push this frame into the stack. And then you clear the frame. So like it actually runs. Does it make sense?
Can you try a Bubba Dance on it?
Let me copy the file. Wait, where do we get the Baba Dance file?
It's if you go to like the Reddit and then you go to professor's post that's called like this is what we do in class. And then in there that link takes you to the online GDP or I don't know if it's GDP or the acronym is chat
Yeah.
GTP. And then you can use the text file there.
Wait a second. Oh, I see. Okay, it's over here. Here. Wait. Oh, wait. What did he put on size? Six. Wait, what? Doesn't look like it's reading properly.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. We can, because Professor did say it's like it was supposed to be like a 1 line or 2 line fix from the original too.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I
This one
reshare?
worked on my original file. I think the idea is similar. I don't know if it changes anything else in the code.
So you said that was working before on different files or on like Bubba Dance?
Yeah,
also?
I can show you. It's working on my files, but I have to get rid of my token. Total. Where is my total?
That's the bottom, very bottom.
There we go. Get rid of the token. Permission denied. Wait, what is permission denied?
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, so the original file runs just fine.
I guess for that one though, it's tough to tell what the last frame is because it's like raining. It's like, do we know if we're getting like frame N or the final frame?
Let's see, did I get the, you can check the bottom right corner. So let me just keep sort tool off. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3. This is 3 frames.
And there's 3 to Tutora.
Yeah, that's only 3 total.
Huh.
This guy doesn't flinch. I don't know.
He's tired. He's been dancing too much. He doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, he's over it.
Yeah.
Do anything else because you can see the method that I use is a string search for F mode. This guy uses a capital F. There we go. See?
Oh, you got them all.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, he uses a capital F. I use the lowercase f.
What makes the difference there?
This is a character search.
Oh, character search.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
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 lower-
logic.
different index.
Lowercase f doesn't work with it.
No, because it's a different character. It's a different integer in the A6.
So why f though? Of all the integers, like or the letters.
Oh,
You
because
just
it had
picked F.
because it says F.
Oh, I see.
There's
I
a
see. Now.
frame, right? Frame
it.
something,
Uh-huh.
right? So we can also search just frame. Would work.
Add the lowercase and the uppercase, and then it would just work with both.
Uh-huh.
You can use ignore case as well. So it's just whatever distinguished this.
So you want to go
But-
back to the code part? Let's see. So you have comes in. Interesting. Track line. Yeah, I mean, it's working.
So what he did is violence smaller than that. I think it's just the logic is backwards because right here, in his code is first checking the line length is smaller than minimum length. So if you go back to yours, I can just show it here. Um,
Yeah, that would be cool. Thank you, Yang.
Yeah, thanks.
so, so in his code here, I guess you can change to greater than. Swap this logic here. Here's this. This is fine. See, it's a logic, it's backward because the if, right? So right after the while on line 53, right here, it says if line dot length is smaller than, right? So the first case will be, it will be ignoring the actual frame. That makes sense. But yeah, that's the only one line changer for his stuff. I
Sweet.
guess. Yeah, no, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's working.
Yes, but like, why did that not print the last one though? Like the logic of not printing the last one.
Let's see.
It's like your logic makes total sense, to me.
So originally it looked something like this. So if smaller than, so in the first line, this will read the frame in it. So this line. So right now, the first pass, the get line gives you the / frame one. And then if you have anything, which is false, so it will push back. So the first one is always the first frame, not a frame, the word, the first line of frame one is always pushed back. So and then the second pass, it's pushing the previous frame and then clearing it. So it's always like lags one behind. Right, the first pass, it pushes, where is it? Total. So in the first pass, he pushes this guy. Right, the second pass, it pushes here. But then, like this one shouldn't be pushed. So that's why it's taking up space. If you can, if I run the first one. Just, oh no, not the wrong song. How did you do the ring read stuff? Whatever. Oh. So he says, okay, this guy gets cut it off. Wait. 3 frames above. Okay, so the first one doesn't get pushed. Okay, I think the logic here is just that because it only pushes if there is a next read, right? But since it has 4 read, he needs an extra to read the first one, or he needs an extra to read the last one.
It's lagging one behind.
Yeah, because of how this logic is constructed.
Right, so it'll make the first read, it'll read the frame one, and the second read, it'll push the actual picture and then read the little frame two, and then it'll only do it 4 times, right? But it would need the 5th to push back the actual last frame.
Yeah, because it calls this one later. So this is not the first pass. So if you move this to the first pass,
I see. And that's how you had the logic of just the frame instead of even pushing that at all.
I think so. Right now it's pushing empties. All right, because I didn't.
Would it work too if we put like, if you change the text file and put like, you know, a new / frame line with no new frame? Would it pick up on that and go like, okay, there's going to be a new frame now, push back and take the 4th one, even though there is no 5th?
I think that could work. I can try it.
Oh yeah, that would prove the logic. Let's do it. Also, thanks for coding, Ying.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
There it
Right,
is.
so with the 5th frame, it will push it.
Oh, how
Right.
cool.
So the order of logic is a little bit awkward.
Should we call the professor back in?
Yes.
Do we have anything else to do?
Oh, it's to add the colors, right? Adding
Oh
the
yeah,
colors.
Okay,
colors.
you guys can go ahead and add colors.
Yeah, and probably like actually fix the code too, so it runs
Yeah,
on yours, and then we can post it later.
no, for sure. You guys want to walk me through what we just changed?
So okay. So what we changed is yeah, so we have pushback in the beginning, and the logic for the pushback is it's looking for, so you can use the string search to look for the F in frame, and
I think it works just fine. You just all you got to do is change the smaller than minimum length to greater than minimum length.
Yeah, and that's it.
I think so.
Just make that look a little better. What the heck?
that's cool. I had an error that's at that at some point that I was gonna fix.
Maybe I ran into something. Okay.
I think it's like pushing back every line as it comes in instead of making it a frame. That was my logic when I got that error.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That worked for me, didn't work for this one. Okay.
I think it's because you had the logic change, because it's like that logic on the first line is just protecting for the minimum length. Like, oh, is it a, you know, does it have things in it?
Right here.
I guess
Where does this code differ from like Yu Yang's code we just looked at?
because his logic for the beginning, his first if block had more like specific logic.
Just that double and statement, and then looking for the F character.
Yeah, it's looking for the F character. And I forgot the first part of his if block, if the if statement said. Um,
Should we want to add the other and in and see if it works after that? Yu Yang, think that would make it work?
Hmm.
what was your logic for that the first if block?
Oh, I just wrapped it in the along with the while loop. So it will be while get line and if it couldn't find the string.
Oh, that was
But I'm trying to fix it from his way.
Yeah, so I was like trying to work backwards from your fix.
maybe we should just put it in the way you have it and then try to change the color. Just because we got to run, or we can keep going on it. But if we want to do the color stuff, I don't know. It's up to everyone. I don't want to like tell us where we're going or anything like that.
But yeah, here's the walk of this method.
Maybe we could call the professor back and then explain what we like, the change of logic, and then he can tell us like or help us walk through specifically like exactly where his is wrong, and then we can work on color.
I think that's a good idea.
So we figured some of it out.
Yeah.
It's not as exact code, but it works now, Professor.
Yeah, hey. You got it? Is it working now?
So we
Mhm.
um we realized, at least on our ends, that there was the order of the logic wasn't quite there for what the fix we found, and Yu Yang had a really cool fix where he changed a little like yeah, the order of the while loop. But that wasn't exactly
Oh, I
like
see. Okay.
changing your code, it was changing it a lot. So we were we found a way, something that did work, but not probably not the change you were thinking that was only one line. Um,
Yeah, there's many ways to do everything, right? So,
so
maybe you found a different way.
we
So
did, but
that's great.
we were wondering what your way was too, because you said it was only
Yeah,
one or
sure.
two lines
Yeah,
differently.
let's take a look. Let's take a look, and then I can explain the other way to do it. So why don't you run this, and then we can take a look. And does it get the fourth frame? I haven't seen the full dance. I only saw the first 3 frames. I didn't do the.
So maybe
I didn't.
copy paste the other one, comment all that out, and then
Yeah. Or does Yu Yang, you want us to run it on your computer? Because you have the full. He has the full
Sure.
setup. I can stop sharing.
Oh, is it running now?
So I fixed
Hey,
it
yeah,
by
okay, cool.
different set of
All
margins.
right. That is funny. That is funny. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at your code, and then let's see what the change was that did this, and then we can go back to rather than change your code back, rather than change your code to what I had in mind. What we can do is we'll leave this working code as it is, and then we'll take the code that didn't work that I posted, and then we can fix that. Then you can compare to say, oh, these are the two different ways you can do this.
Yeah,
Also
sounds
change my
great.
yeah, change my glasses because font is a bit too small for me. Yeah, it's better. Okay, so where is it? Where are your changes?
Here the line method is different. Okay, let's just look at mine.
Oh, you're running a diff between the two?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay.
But yeah, so this is just mine. So my logic is while we have the file open,
Mm-hmm.
and then while you get the line, and if the line does not return a character of f, which is from the frame part.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right,
then,
okay, yeah.
So it will push back the block. Or if it's so it pushes back to the frame, which is
I see. Got it.
the object. And then if the frame is not empty, it would push it back to the stack.
I see. Okay, all right. So I see that this can work. And so the only risk in doing this is that we are leveraging what is inside a comment. Yes? Because the frame one, frame two, those are comments. We can put anything we want in there. The only constraint is that it's got to be less than 20 characters. So so it is possible, and in fact, even some documentation systems for in the real world, they actually leverage the way in which comments are written too. In fact, there's a documentation system called Doxygen or something. I have never, right? Doxygen, they say if you place comments in this particular format, then we'll take those comments and integrate them into the IDE so that people can mouse over the function and will tell you what the function does and things like that. So it is, but in my opinion, it's risky to leverage comments, because comments are basically saying, well, I don't care what you put in there, you can put anything in there. So someone could say, put other some comment there that has the letter F in it, and that'll screw up our logic. So so that is why we try to steer clear of those changes. I can show you what. Oh, by the way, change the 20 to min length also, right? And change the const size t min length to 20, and then use the const there. Yeah. Up there you have on line 39 you have min length equals 10. Yeah, make that 20, and then this can also be min length. Yeah. All right. So now we can let's take a look at the other code, and
so this way it works too. It's just the way the while loop is constructed.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, your animation. All right, so you see in the fourth frame, his legs are bent to the right, but then when it goes back to this side, his legs are not completely erased. Yes, you see that?
Yeah.
So that's easy to fix, and no code change, right? All you need to do is in the picture, in the frame that you have, you're just missing spaces there. In the last picture, you just need to put spaces where the after the last character, you just put spaces, erase those legs, those parts. There you go. Yeah, okay. You just need to put no, I think it's in the first one, because that's the part that is not disappearing. So I think in the first one you don't have spaces there. Yeah, I think if you run it now, yeah, okay. So, all right. So now we can take a look at, yeah, now we can take a look at the other code, and I can tell you what I had in mind to fix it. I think it should work, right? I haven't thought this through completely, but if it doesn't work, we'll find out very quickly. Is this the code that
yeah,
this is the original code?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So here's what I thought was happening, And you guys can think about it and confirm or deny or you know say that's not what it is. That's fine. So what we're doing is that every time we encounter at the beginning of a frame, every time we encounter a comment character, that's, you know, any line that's less than 20, we say the previous frame has ended. Yes, that's what we're doing, isn't it? So the very first time we encounter it, what are we doing? There's no previous frame. You know, the frame is, there's no previous frame, right? And we've encountered it, but we still say, you know, we're going to line that length is less than min line. Yeah. Okay. So the very first line, it goes in there. It's going to try and push back whatever you've accumulated in the frame, but you're going to check to see that why is it? In fact, there's right. So here's what you should on line 56. Hit enter on line 56. No, after line 56. Thanks.
Sure.
There you go. Right now, say if and then say frame frame dot size is greater than 0. Right, frame dot size is greater than 0. Then we push back frame. Okay, which means that yeah, exactly. So if there, excellent. And you need braces. You need braces because it's no, not there. Yeah, curly braces for the if statement. Yeah, there. Okay, and that's just that's not the fix, by the way. Okay, that was another bug that I just noticed. So all that says is that, you know, every time you hit one of those short lines, that means if you've been saving up a frame so far, that frame is finished, save it, and we're going to start a new frame. That's what we're saying. Is so far, is that logic okay? Okay, good. Now, what happens if they go all the way to the end? All the way to the end, there is no comment character following the very last. There's no comment line following the very last line of the frame, right? So what happens there is that frame number 5, let's say my frame, how many? Maybe I have 4 frames, okay? My 4th frame has been built up and it's in a frame. It has not been pushed onto the list of frames that I'm saving up, but the file has run out. The file, there's no more frames. Therefore, that at that point, the function will pretty much return. But we don't want it to return. We say, hey, you know, we're building up a frame where that frame also has to be pushed. Yes, the last frame also has to be pushed. So all we need to do is after the while loop, you know, after the while loop. Yeah, there you go. Hit enter. Hit enter. And here you need, I think we just have to say if frame dot size greater than 0. You just need to frames dot push back that too.
No,
we'll create a method called frames dot size. You're right, Ryan. That's Ryan is doing the right thing. But what we'll do is that we'll create a method called frames dot size, which returns data dot size, so that it's cleaner. You don't have to do multiple dots and all. Frame dot size. The current frame dot size is greater than 0. Yeah, and a space before the greater than also, because you got a space after. Yeah, now you can say frames dot push back frame. That's all, right? Semicolon. You can get rid of the braces because it's just one statement for the if statement there, right? So now this should technically fix the issue. However, you know, we introduced that dot size. Let's just add that. If you go all the way to the frame class at the top, right? Now let's see. We have here. Okay, right. So here we need a public method, which is not a static method. No, it's not a static method. So we'll put it right up there under that constructor line on line 23. Go to line 23, hit enter. And here we're going to say size. No, you can just say size t, size t, space size. And open close. And then after that, just say the word const, C-O-N-S-T. And I'll explain all of these, right? You know, and then space. No, so you can just, we'll just inline the function there, right there. And a curly brace. And space, return, data.size. That's all, right? And open close. That's it, semicolon after the, right? Semicolon, and then a space because you got a space on the side of return. Right. Great. Okay, that's all we need, because that thing says, here's a frame. What is the size of the frame? And although we could technically say, you know, frame dot data dot size, it's messy. So we just create a method and it's inline. The compiler will do it a substitution automatically for us. Okay. So there's no loss of efficiency. That's going to return the size. Now in our method for read from file, all we're doing is that reading all the lines. Every time we hit a comment character, we look at that frame and push it onto the list of frames that we have. And then the very last one, we say, well, you know what? We haven't pushed it, but it's still there. So we got to push that too. That's all. Yeah.
So you don't need this part.
Hmm?
So you don't need this one, right? This is the same check.
No, we do. That is for, so that part is needed for, all right. So I have 4 frames in my file, right? Using 4 fingers here, 4 frames. Okay. That's my first frame, 10 lines or 20 lines. First frame, second frame, third frame, fourth frame. Now, after the first frame, I have a comment saying, okay, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. Yeah. Now that inner statement is going to fire off when you hit that inside thing. But the last one is going to fire when you don't hit a comment character, but you've got the end of file. So let's say that lines that are shorter than 20 are basically comment lines. And comment lines basically fire off saying, you know, all right, the previous frame is done. The next frame is beginning. That's what we're using it for. Right? So every time you hit the comment line, every time you hit the comment line, you'll take the current frame and store it. Yes or no? Yeah, everybody should stay in step with me. Okay, Karthik, are you sleeping? Okay, all right, okay. You look like you're sleeping. All right, okay. So please agree with me, okay? Or if you don't agree with me, let me know that you don't agree, okay? All we're saying is that every time it hits that comment line, it says, I've got a saved up frame that needs to go on the stack of frames that I'm building, or the list of frames that I've got, okay, a vector of frames. Every time you hit that, you take the current frame, store it, and clear the current frame so you can start building a new frame. That's what you're doing. Isn't that what the inner if statement is doing? Every time you hit one of those comment lines, you're saying that my current frame is ready to be pushed on my vector. I'm going to push it and then clear it. That's what you're doing there. You're pushing the current frame and clearing it to prepare for the next frame. When you hit a comment line, you're pushing the current frame and clearing it. Yes or no? Okay, so that'll work beautifully all the way, except for the very last frame, because the very last frame, there's no comment line under it. So it'll never encounter that line. It'll never enter that if statement. Yes or no? Because the very last frame does not have a comment line under it.
For the first frame, does it just push nothing on when it sees the first comment line, like frame 1?
No. So for the first frame, what we do is let's see. No, in fact, you know, for the first frame, we're covered for the first frame, because if you see on line 61, it says if the frame has got a non-zero size, that's when we push. For the first frame, the frame will be 0 size. Yes.
Yeah.
So it won't push. In fact, change that to frame.size now that we have the method, right? It doesn't have to be frame.data.size. Yeah. Okay. So now the first frame is not going to be pushed because it'll be empty. But the last frame is not empty, but it's not getting pushed, and we just push it out. That's all. Yes. So that's why I said it's just one line. No, obviously you can do it in other ways too, but you know, other ways will be slightly more involved logic. And oftentimes what happens in software engineering is that there will be multiple ways of solving things. And then after the engineers get together and discuss, they'll say, all right, if I do it this way, then there are these disadvantages. If I do it that way, there are these disadvantages. Okay, every method has pros and cons, and therefore that is where a manager who might have a better view of the project as it fits into the company's product roadmap will say, okay, well, you know what, these disadvantages we can live with, those we can't, so we'll go with that method. So everything has pros and cons, and this is where you make decisions saying, well, this is the way we're going to do it, not that way, right? And so you'll make these decisions all along, all through your programming career. But that's basically what's going on here. Is it working, by the way? Did we try this out? Is it working? It might change. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. So this is all. So all we're doing is that at the very last frame, which we missed before, we're just catching. That's all. That's why I said it's just one line. Everything else we're catching. The last frame we weren't catching, and we got the last frame and pushing that one also. Yeah. All right. Now we have obviously, right before you go ahead and implement the color changing. You just have to do that one method saying set pixel at with set pixel at and set color pixel at, right? So you can call that method set color pixel at. I'm not going to walk you through that code. You guys can write this unless you want my help. Okay, in that case, I'll come back and help, obviously. So you're going to write that, but before you do that, I would like for everyone to understand every single character in this file, in this program, okay? Because there are things like ampersands that some of you say, well, I'm going to use it, but I don't really know what's going on there, okay? Passing something by reference. And then there's const. We stuck a const on top of at the end of the data line, right? Frame.data, the method. We wrote a method called frame.data. We just stuck a const. What does it do? So that's the question. You can ask and other people can answer. If nobody answers, just remember, and you have a list of 3 or 4 questions that I can answer when I come back, right? So what does that const do? And then what is it? We have a bunch of static methods, and that's not a static method. Data.size, that's not a static method. What's the difference? Why are these static and that's not static? So that's a question. And then passing an entire vector by reference, right? Entire vector by reference. Typically, when you pass vectors and containers, and you'll encounter this more and more in 2B and 2C and advanced programming later on. So you'll be building objects, and not all objects are going to be small, integer character size. Some of these objects you build will be very big. In my 2C, for example, the students are building graphs that have hundreds of thousands of nodes, and so a graph object could occupy megabytes of space. Now, suppose you want to pass this graph object to a method saying, hey, take a look at this graph and tell me how many nodes I have, even number or odd number of edges, something like that, okay? Now, if you want to pass the entire graph by copy, it's a waste, isn't it? Because, you're going to copy so many megabytes, and all that person is going to do is just read through it and then send it back, not going to make any changes. Yeah, so in those cases, what you'll do is always pass a reference to the graph, a reference to the object, not the actual object, because copying the entire object over is expensive. So you're passing by reference. So passing by reference is in here. You need to take a look. File IO, I don't think you guys are confused about, because I think you guys know how file IO works. Vectors, vector of string. Well, maybe you have questions you can ask and clarify. Yeah, certainly static versus non-static. Parameter passing by reference and not passing by reference, and then the logic in that loop, right? And just make sure that the logic that I did in my version is also clear, right? So you have your version that how it works. Also try and understand how my version works, and if you have any questions, try and answer them to each other, or ask me to answer them, and I'm happy to do that too. And after you've done that, write this method. Well, maybe I'll do the signature of this method, and then you can fill in the body of the method. All you need to do is set pixel at, right? Click on line 26. Hit line 26. Yeah. Now it's set color pixel. Change that to set color pixel at. Yeah. All right, and then row, column, char, and the last parameter should be char color. I think it's 4 by 1 byte color. So comma. Yeah, I think it's a int color. I don't know, int color. Okay, so the color is going to be passed in as a parameter, and that's what you're going to use to any pixel you write is going to be written in that color. That's all. That's the only thing. And which means that in your movie, for example, okay. So the only problem with that is that if you want to make a movie using color, you can't do it. The movie itself, you can make the movie with lots of frames, but putting something in the frame with color, there's only 2 options, okay? Either you can take the escape sequence for making color and stick it inside the frame itself in your text file, in your tutorial.txt. You can put like Erica did. I think you sent some escape codes to change the whole thing blue or something, right? Yeah, okay, so you can do that. But that is messy because, as Erica found, it screws up the formatting of, it doesn't look good. The other way is to just use regular frames, and then whatever needs to be in color, you handle in code. Saying, all right, I got the frame. Now I'm going to write a red heart at 47,35 in that frame. And that's it, right? So you have to do some of these things in code. And obviously you can brainstorm ideas how you can incorporate the color information into your frames in the file. I can't think of any clean ways right now. But if you think of clean ways, you can do that. But you can do this, but don't jump to implementing this first. Okay, I want to make sure that everybody goes through this code, everything in this code, right? and understand all of the aspects, right? Static, references, and const. Anything else we're using here? Yeah, I think, you know, and some and data size is being implemented as inline, meaning it doesn't have an out of body definition. It's just inline. That's when we're doing that. And then we're also using default parameter for set pixel add. Okay, so if anybody doesn't understand what a default parameter is, again, that's another thing you can ask and clarify. All right, so I'm glad. You know, even though you your solution took more lines, did it take more lines, by the way? I don't know. I think so. Yeah, you had to change some of the logic. Yes, you had to take some of the logic. I'm thinking. Excellent exercise. Okay, that is fantastic, because in the process of doing that, you would have gone through the logic in your head and actually figured out, you know, this is what needs to happen, this is how it's doing it, and this is how we need to change it, and try it, not working, try it, not working, oh, try it and works. That is the way we program. Okay, and people think when you try something and it doesn't work, it's always frustrating to programmers. It's only frustrating to beginners. Okay, because after you get experience, even if you try something and it doesn't work, it's not at all frustrating. I can tell you, right? It's only frustrating when you've hit a bug and it's resisted many days of attempts, which will happen, right? In 2B and 2C, actually in 2B, one of my students emailed me saying, I'm stuck on this bug and I'm there for 2 days and I don't know how to proceed. Right, and I told her, well, okay, you just sit on it for a few more days, and then it'll work. Okay, because you know that's how it happens, and the idea is to feel frustrated so that you can feel it all the way through to say, hey, is that all frustration is? I thought frustration was going to kill me. It didn't. Right, and most of the time we don't know in life. We don't know. We always get panicky about little situations because we've been spoiled in a way, saying, you know, anytime small issues happen, we try to douse it immediately and say, well, you know, or someone douses it for us, right? Their parents come or they clean it out and say, all right, no problems at all. And so even a small problem tends to give us a lot of you know, feelings of insecurity and fear. But the trick to conquering these is to just say, well, if it's not going to kill me, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to see what's going to happen. Right, and then when you see that happen, you'll say, oh, you know what, this is frustration. I've faced it a million times before. I know what's going to happen, right? Even if I'm not able to fix it by the end of today, if I sleep and come back to it tomorrow, chances are like over 50% that I'll find the bug, right? If I sleep one more day, chances are over 75% that I'll find the bug. It really happens, okay? Because every day you look at it from a completely different angle. When you're looking at a problem and a bug from one angle, you're basically looking at it from a narrow corridor, and the corridor gets narrower and narrower the longer you spend on the bug, because your mind wants to focus so hard on the problem, it'll shut out everything else. Yes, that's what happens. When we try and concentrate, it'll shut out everything else. And we're trying to fix a bug. It's going to shut out a lot of the code, a lot of the other logic, but the bugs might be there. So we're focused so hard, we try, and that is why focusing so hard sometimes does not solve the problem. The problem is solved by not focusing hard sometimes and just stepping back and saying, all right, I'm going to take a break. You know, I'm going to, you know, grab a bite to eat or go for a walk or something like that. And you come back, then you're not so close to the problem. All right, you're here. That means your vision is not narrow anymore. You can see more. And then the chances are much higher of finding what's actually wrong. So that's exactly what happens. But people who don't get frustrated will, you know, get there, be frustrated. I'm really, really frustrated. Someone help me, right? Someone will come and help them. It's solved and it's gone away. So they'll never get a chance to rewind, go back here and see the big picture. So those people who always have problems fixed for them, they'll never be able to fix their own problems, or they'll fix their problems, but they'll have to find out the hard way on their own.
Move your stuff so I can instead of it.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Erica, your phone is you're not on mute, by the way. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Good. So is that clear? Everybody on the same page so far? Yeah. All right. So how about now? Ryan or anyone can share the code and go over the code from the beginning, from main and everything, and ask if everyone is 100% clear on what everything does. Okay. If there's any questions anyone has as to what's going on, I don't understand this, right? Either you guys can answer it or I will answer it. And after that, we have time. We have 7 minutes more. Okay, but you know, I think it was a good exercise today, right? It was good exercise, you know, diving into the code on your own, and fiddling things. But then 7 minutes is more than enough. Okay, 7 minutes is more than enough. Do a once over of the code. Make sure you understand it. and then try and implement that method. And I bet that method is also just a one-line method, and do it very easily. Find the escape code and do it. And after that, also test the method out by in your main, just do a test call, right? In one of the frames, you can do a test call saying, after drawing the frame, I'm going to set a heart, right? Red heart, or a red L character, red question mark, whatever it is. Some colored character on screen. You can and place it using your code, set colored pixel lag, and make sure it works. Okay, and that's all, right? And getting that in place is enough for creating colored frames after that. And frames that you will, well, not from a text file, obviously, that but you'll have a much better idea. You'll be able to draw color lines. You'll be able to, right? You can draw a horizontal line in red, and then you can draw pictures using the horizontal line, right? Draw a line, draw a red line, blue line, green line, yellow line, right? As a square with four colors. So you'd be able to do that, and then create pictures dynamically, not from statically from a file, but you can create dynamically in the program, in the software. You can create these pictures. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Because this is a lot of scope for creativity in programming. There's just pure art, which does not require programming knowledge, because that will, you create that, and then the program will take the art and do something to the next level. Or you can also create the art directly in the software itself. And so that is why it's also fun, and you can have a lot of fun just playing around with this with your friends and coding together. That could all be a good group activity. Yeah, and it's fun. In fact, coding together is I think it can be as much fun as any other social activity, right? For the right kinds of people. Anyway, right? So there you go. If you have any other questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, now I think is the time for one of you to pull up this code, and then go scroll up and down, ask anyone has any questions. If nobody has questions, then the person who has the code pulled up should implement that set color pixel lag, and also implement a call in main to say, I'm going to set a color pixel here and make sure it works. And ideally, I would like to see it before class ends, before you say, okay, Professor, the class is finished, we want to go. I'd like to see even an existing movie, right? So maybe the James Bond gun. So the bullets are coming out in red, whatever, right? So you can do that, or you don't even have to do motion red. Okay, you can just say, we got a frame, we got a movie that's already there, but look at that pixel, a sun in the top right corner, right? A little star, a red star, Mars. Okay, you put a red star in the sky. So James Bond under a Martian sky. No, it can't be Martian sky, because you can't see Mars from Mars. Okay, I got to see down, right? But you can say James Bond under Mars. Okay, so you can say, oh, that's that star. We put it there with a set color pixel. Is that good? Is that a good way to basically wrap up today? We didn't do a lot of live coding, but I think you guys did a lot of live coding amongst yourself, which I'm very pleased to see. Thank you, Ryan. There will be scope for more opportunities. I think week 11 or something, we can do some live coding with linked lists and pointers, and that should be fun. Week 10 and 11, you can come back and code then. Since you didn't have that much of an opportunity today, we can do some linked list coding. It'll be fun. Okay, well, maybe we'll do the Wheel of Fortune game. I'll think about it. I'll review the YouTube video where we did last quarter. We'll say, we did this Wheel of Fortune. We'll see. I'll try and think of ways in which we can make it, jazz it up a bit more, and then we can try and play. Create that. And you can come back and do that. Hannah is going to code on Tuesday. But then there's going to be opportunities after that. And every one of you I see here has had an opportunity to code on screen. So so at this point, it's basically up for grabs. Anyone can say, I want to code, and that's good to go. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right. Now, so go ahead and do all this, and at the end of the class, you can take whatever you've got, share it. Yeah, you can make movies too, and yeah, that's it. All right. Call me. Okay, I'm going to be here. Call me if you have any questions, but try and also answer your classmates' questions if you have an idea. It could be the wrong answer. That's fine. Could be the wrong answer, and you can say, this is the answer, but let's check with Anna on that at the end. That's fine too. Okay, so try and take many stabs. It's okay to it's good to have wrong answers. Okay, we only get to know what the right answers are by making wrong answers many times. All right, great. That's all. I'm going to be here, but let me know when you sign off. I'll just come and stop the recording. Okay. Thank you all for this week's classes. Thank you, Ryan, for coming to class today and taking time off work and all. That's great. I appreciate that. And we'll get an opportunity to code. All right. Yeah, someone should pull up the code on screen, by the way. Okay, even though people can look at the code on their own computers, it'll also help to have the code on the Zoom screen, because eventually, after you've all done a once over, that person who's got the code up has got to fill it out. Maybe Ryan can share the code, okay? Because he'll be writing the color pixel method also.
Yeah, we were using Yu Yang's actually computer for the last part, so I think he has more of the complete code.
Yeah,
okay.
if you could
All right.
like share it or something too.
Mm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Yu Yang, if you can share the
Give me a
screen.
second.
Yeah, and you could also just put it all on online GDB and share the link too if you want. If you can't code, or if you want Ryan to code, or whoever. It's up to you.
You guys have any questions for the code?
I have like two. What would you put like static and void in front of like the I don't know what they're called, but like the show frame at, what does that do?
The void basically tells you that this function doesn't have any returns.
Hmm.
I think static is that you can call this function anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Maybe someone has a better answer.
I think static is like you don't need to call it on a specific object. Like you can call it directly from the class.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And then I think one question I sort of had was like what exactly, like I know the constants, like it's not supposed to like change things, but sometimes we put it like next to the argument, and like in the size function it's like after like after like the size t parentheses. So I'm not sure like where putting that affects the function.
Pretty sure it is. Putting a constant before or after the size t wouldn't matter.
Like in that, for example, in that like line 34, like const is before like the argument frame, right? But then on 24, it's after like the function, like it's there. It's not like part of like a variable. It's just like, is it like for the function? It's not supposed to do like this is a function. Is it applying to like the entire function itself?
That's true. Yeah, maybe I could it also like in theory also apply to like line 28 too, since it's also like a return. I forgot the name of the actual term, but always returning the set pixel at with the space in theory.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
So the constant is describing the size, right? So do you mean the order of the constant, like it's before or after, or?
Oh, I just searched it up. It's like the const like before the parameter versus after the function name.
Yeah, so there it didn't work. So it's maybe not describing the size, but the return, like what's happening after. Oh yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah, constant is. Oh.
I found a link that sort of explains it. I just put it in the chat. I don't fully get it, but I think like it sort of it like it gives a little bit of like a description of like what the difference is.
Oh, it's like I guess it's like another way to rewrite the this pointer.
Yeah, I think it's like it's not if we put it after the function, the function can't change whatever object it's called on. But then if it's in front of the parameter, it can't change the parameter.
Kind of like a basic question, but like data is an object in the frame class, and this like what we're doing, like data dot size and data dot pushback is us using those methods on the object data in the frame class, right? Kind of.
I'm not sure if data is an object. I think it's just, I mean, unless like
What
vectors
is
are
it?
objects, but like it's the vector, right? Like it's like the instance variable.
Yeah, I
Or
was
like,
kind of confused about what data was.
yeah, I think like, yeah, it's like in the private, it's like each object has like a vector in it, which is like its
Hey,
data.
a vector is also an object, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it because it's just a container that's been created by the library guys, and we're just using it. So objects can contain other objects too. So we're just our frame object contains a data object, which is actually a vector from the library.
Oh, okay.
Also, kind of another basic question I had was last class we like made some changes so we could take away frame from each line. I think we like made things static class. I don't. We changed like the methods to void, and I think we didn't have to put frame in front of everything.
This will work?
No, I think we had, wait, I'll come back. I'll restate my question in a better way. Hold on.
But do you mean as in like we don't have to do like the frame dot when we're calling it? Was
Yeah,
that
not for,
like was that what you mean by like we don't have to do write the frame?
yeah, I think like in public and void, we had frame in front of all of them in public and private, I think. Hold on, I'll look for old code and find it.
I have a simple question too, kind of is when we make all the frame objects, like in our static void, the public methods, like we have them all as references, frame and then and symbol frame. Like, is there a reason for that other than maybe like just memory, or is it like why not? Like, what would happen if we didn't use that? If we just called them all in, like I could call in frame as frame, for each of those.
I think like having the and allows us to like change frames. Like, because like in the main, like we create like a yeah, in the main we like create like a vector of frames, right? And then we can like pass that vector into like it's like in the beginning it's empty, but then when you first pass it into like read frames from at that point it's can like actually change like what's in frames, like by adding like the text you need to add,
Mhm.
like the drawings. I think.
Okay. And if you didn't like, if we didn't put the do it by reference, does it just not run or?
I think I think it would run, but maybe like when the function ends, it wouldn't have anything in it, like it wouldn't be changed in any way.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Could try it.
You guys want to try without end?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, give it a shot without that. It'll probably like, I don't know what'll happen, but
Yeah, I think there's just
Doesn't work.
nothing. I
yeah.
think it's just nothing that goes into frames because if you're it which was changed? Like the what wait, what was the vector that was changed?
All of it?
All of them? Oh yeah, but like when we're like I think like when we're using like the first one we sort of use is like read read from the file into the frame. And then in that, like if you don't have the and, then you can't actually change like the vector of frame. So at the end of the function, like there's like nothing in it. So then when it prints, there's nothing to print.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
I think that's what's happening.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
All right, guys, I got a div. I don't know. I posted the code in Reddit as well.
Cool.
Alrighty.
I think I'm gonna drop as well right now, but it's nice seeing you all here today. It's happy I could stop by, so thanks. See ya.
Wait, after looking through the code, we were supposed to like try to do a function for colors. Okay. Okay. I think I'll probably just try to fully understand and then try to do colors on my own.
You guys here?